Hello there, welcome to Cupcos Cantina. Today we are going to be talking about my favorite thing to talk about this year, which is Star Wars Zero Company. So they did a thing where they asked everyone to ask questions on Discord and they were going to answer a bunch of them. So that is what this article is. We're going to dive right into this because the first question was the most asked one. It is the most talked about thing about whether or not this could happen in this game. Let's just jump straight into it. Can you have a whole team of clones? Operators in Zero Company will have access to clone armor cosmetics with the ability to customize their armor from the start. Bonus, clone trooper helmets even provide a voice modulation to characters, which is very fun. You will be able to unlock clone troopers after a certain point in the story, allowing you to have a full team of clone troopers. It is confirmed you can have a team of clone troopers in this game. Now, I and many others were very, very skeptical about whether or not you would be able to do this, and it was purely because they had not said you could do this, they had not shown a single screenshot or snippet of gameplay with more than one clone trooper on screen. So I've copped a lot of shit for people saying, hey, this isn't confirmed yet, just wait for them to officially confirm it, and now, hey, it's officially confirmed, I'm on your side, we can make squads of clone troopers. Awesome, we're done. Very happy about this. I personally don't really care that much about having a squad of clone troopers, but I know so many other people cared about having a squad of clone troopers, so for all of you, I am happy for you. You've got it. Perfect. So let's move on. How many hours will the game be? Depending on your difficulty level and experience with the strategy genre, we estimate about 30 to 40 hours for the average player to complete the main story campaign. That is music to my ears. Hell yeah. Love a deep campaign in the strategy genre. Actually surprised it's going to be that long. I think you'll be able to get through it quicker. I imagine once you start doing a lot of optional stuff, that'll beef up that playtime a little bit more. But 30 to 40 hours for this kind of game, hell yeah, that sounds great. What was it like creating the character Hawks, and how early did you decide to make him the main character? Hawks was a long conversation for our team. Stepping into the Clone Wars, we built a character who not only served as a figurehead for this group of unexpected heroes from all walks of the galaxy, but also as someone who cares. Balancing those characteristics with an identity that people could identify with and attach to was extremely important. It took us a while to create a character that fits this way. This also played a big role in how we approach the voice performance for Hawks. Depending on whether they choose the male or female version of Hawks, players might notice that the voice options feel more like an outlaw cowboy or a by-the-book FBI agent. Both voice actors brought different avenues for players to connect to, coupled with the player's option to pick the character's species, first name, appearance, clothing, and more. We made those choices customizable in the game universe, so Hawks felt like they could be anybody. Cool. I do wish they had more voice actors, like, for different species, like that they would sound completely different per species. But I'm okay with that, if I'm being perfectly honest. Is Hawks only required to be deployed for story-related missions, or can we not deploy him at all if we wanted? Hawks is required on all story missions, but for skirmish missions, players are welcome to bring any combination of operators they want. Makes sense. You've seen in the screenshots where it says like mission parameters or something like that, it says Hawks required. So that's your story missions. Hawks is you, essentially. So if it's a story mission, you need to be there. So that makes sense. Knowing that the other missions, you can just send out a customized squad of characters that you have made, fine, perfect. There is some stuff that we get into later in these questions that I just skimmed through this morning, so I'm reading them mostly fully for the first time now. There is a few things where I'm a bit like, that's kind of disappointing, but that's okay. But we'll get into that in a minute. Can we have some news about the Collector's Edition, please? We don't have anything to announce today, but keep an eye out this coming weekend for more news. I believe this is San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend, so I assume we're getting news on a Collector's Edition this weekend. If it is good, if it is cool, day one. I haven't bought a Collector's Edition since 2019. And it was Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. That was the last Collector's Edition I ever bought. I am not a big Collector's Edition guy. I am looking at the one for Galactic Racer. We'll see. We'll see. But if this one, like, this is my most anticipated game of the year. Not just my most anticipated Star Wars game, my most anticipated game. So if this is a cool Collector's Edition, instant buying. We'll see, though. I'm waiting to see what it is. If Hawks dies, suffers 3 injuries, is he out as a unit? Does the mission restart, or does it mean game over? Hawks is your playable character, so it's an automatic mission failure if Hawks dies in combat, and you'll need to restart the mission. We already knew that. Don't know why people are asking that. That was already confirmed. Some of these questions as well were like, I was reading through the Reddit today, and people were like, oh, I'm glad that this was finally confirmed. And I was like, no, that's actually kind of been confirmed for a while now. You all just don't listen. Sorry, not trying to be a dick here. I know everyone doesn't listen to every piece of information, but it does get frustrating when something has been out there for a long time and people keep asking the questions and then it takes up space in here. A little annoying, but you know, I'm just being a bit of a prick. For clone customization, will there be more unique types of armor, helmets like ARF, Airborne, Commando, etc., and what options will there be for their armor patterns? Our team here at BitReactor felt it was important to give players the option to have fun with character customization. We think you'll be very happy with the selection of paint jobs and patterns we have for helmets, armor, and more for clone trooper customization. I'm glad that they're doing this, because it was the most vocal part of the audience for this game that was talking about, I want to make my own clones. You know, if I can't, I was talking to someone the other day that said if we can't make a clone squad, they weren't going to buy the game. They were going to cancel their pre-order. They were done. I think that's a little bit dramatic, but you do you. Will the game have modding support? If so, to what extent would it be allowed? A lot of respect for the modding community, but no official mod support planned for Star Wars Zero Company. I saw a lot of people misunderstanding what that means. People thought that that meant that you can't mod the game. No, people will be able to mod this game still on PC. Just saying that there is no official mod support, meaning that they don't sort of give you that helping hand, you know? That if you're going to mod this game, you really have to do it. You have to wait for the modders to do it. They're not going to have access to the tools that would make it a little bit easier with official mod support, but there will still be mods for this game. Like, for example, Battlefront 2 does not have official mod support, but there is a ton of mods for that game. So I saw a lot of people misunderstand what that means, but so there will be mods for it, definitely, but it will be up to the community to make them on their own from scratch without the helping hand of the dev team. With the option to customize Hawks and him showing up in cutscenes in the trailers, it seems like the cutscenes will be real-time rendered instead of pre-rendered. Most of the cutscenes in this game going to be real-time rendered. Most of the cutscenes in-game are rendered in real time, but there are a few minor exceptions where we use pre-rendered cinematics. It's important for our team to players to see the characters they've customized reflected throughout their gameplay experience. Makes sense. Yeah, that's fine. This is where we're getting into it here. What is the operator limit at HQ? Does it increase as the game progresses, or does it remain static throughout the game? Current operator limit is 20. Players start with a maximum of 7 operators. This limit can be increased through different upgrades at the den, story progression, and as new authored operators join the squad. So that is... It's been so long since I played XCOM 2. I can't remember how many you could have in XCOM 2. I feel like I had a lot. But I honestly don't remember if I ever got up to like 20. 20 seems fine to have. Later on, they talk about how the limit for operators you can send on a mission is 4, with some missions being the exception where you'll have like an extra person depending on what the mission is. That's where I talked about earlier. A couple weeks ago in videos and stuff, where you'll probably have guest characters, like probably Anakin is going to be a guest character, where you do a mission and hey, Anakin's on this mission with you, so you have 5, you're 4 people and Anakin, or you know, one of the authored characters that are out there on the mission with you. Like if I think I saw one, there's a screenshot with 5 operators there. One of them is Jay Mordant, one of the authored characters, so maybe that's where her introduction to the story. I don't know. We'll get there. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Can you tell us a little bit more about the variety in weapons and gear we can outfit our operators with? Players will have a lot to discover once Zero Company is released, but there is a deep well of equipable weapons and utilities for you to experiment with and customize as you progress in the game. We have 4 weapon classes alongside 4 to 6 cosmetic models you can select from within each class. Cool, sounds fine. It'll be interesting to see, yeah, just how many like different guns they have within each class. Here we go. Is squad limit capped at 4 operators. The standard squad limit can go up to 4 operators, but players will have the opportunity to control additional characters in certain missions. Like I just said, there will be these guest characters on certain missions, which will up the number of operators. This is one where I'm a little bit like, man, like XCOM starts out, you have 4 operators, but as you progress through the game, you have the opportunity to upgrade that to 5 and then later 6. And it really is like the sweet spot for me, I think, having 6 people on the field. So I'm a little bit like, damn, like 4 doesn't seem like that much. But if the map sizes are a bit smaller, 4 might feel okay. You know, I won't know until I get my hands on the game. But this is one of those things where I was like, it's a little disappointing. Still super excited for the game. Little disappointed at that, though. How are actions limited on the strategic layer of the map? I believe it was said that time only advances when you take a combat mission. Does that mean you are free to do everything on the map? You will have a certain amount of intel you can spend to conduct operations at the galaxy map between each mission. These can expire, but you will have story-critical missions that become obligatory. After a certain point in the game, each operation costs various amounts of intel, so we encourage you to choose wisely depending on your playstyle and gameplay interests. It seems from everything we've been told that Jedi Padawan is tied to Telray herself. What happens if Telray dies? Are we able to recruit more Jedi Padawans to Zero Company, or is she simply the only character that fits into that class? Telray is the only Jedi Padawan class operator in Zero Company. Be careful that nothing unfortunate happens to her. Again, that's something we already knew about. Will there be enemy vehicles or bigger droids like dwarf spiders that you'll have to fight during missions? We can't share specifics just yet, but there will be missions that involve some heavy machinery. Makes sense. This is another bit, the no fog of war. This kind of like irks me a little bit. How will no fog of war avoid a snipers snipe everything player strategy? Snipers are a viable strategy. We won't dissuade players from building a whole squad to address certain scenarios. We've seen the evolution of strategy games over our careers, and it was extremely important to us to offer diverse strategies and flexibility in how someone wants to play. With that in mind, even though snipers have long range, it doesn't mean they can always see the targets they want to shoot. A whole team of snipers might end up having a lower rate of kills, which could be something that you want to keep in mind when planning out your team. So for me, I love the fog of war in games like XCOM because it ups that tension. Like, knowing where everyone is at the start, like I think it removes a lot of that tension, which is a bit of a shame, you know. I understand why they don't have it. I really do, but it's something that I would have loved, or maybe have that like locked to a higher difficulty or something. It's a shame. It's just a mechanic that I like and that I want. So that's that. Will there be any weather effects in the game that affect the squad's visibility or efficiency? The weather effects during combat are purely cosmetic and will not affect the squad's visibility or efficiency. That's okay, I guess. You know, it would have been cool if it was like, I don't know, it might have been too frustrating actually, but it would have been cool if there was things like, if it was raining, the ground is slippery. You know, there's like a 5% chance your operator slips over or an enemy slips over. Kind of like in Baldur's Gate 3 when you throw oil on the ground and then people slip on it. I don't know. Again, it's not something that's like absolutely necessary, but it is just that tiny little bit more depth. Having like an actual like foggy location where like visibility is like greatly reduced would be fun. Again, it's not something that's 100% required, but you know, would have been cool to have. Just saying. Do outfits impact your character's gameplay? You have to look good to play good, but outfits do not impact gameplay good, nor should they. Will there be Phase 1 ARC Trooper armor? This is what I mean. So many people want the fucking clones, man. Like, Jesus, get some other questions in here. The ARC Trooper armor set is only part of the Grand Army of the Republic cosmetic pack for the deluxe edition, but will have a ton of other cosmetic options available out of the gate for players. Cool. Will we get Beskar armor for our operatives to wear? If so, can we customize the armor? You will have a ton of cosmetic options for armor in the game, but only Cly can wear the Mandalorian armor. Makes sense. Will there be a New Game Plus at launch? We won't have New Game Plus, but players will unlock certain customization options on subsequent playthroughs. What will the playstyle of the 3 enemy factions be like? Any specific strategies we should consider employing against each? Our 3 announced enemy factions all have distinct aspects that will challenge players to change up their tactical approach. For the Separatist Alliance and their droids, players might want to have ion weapons to handily dispose of them. Infinite coil units will have various abilities, and players will need to consider who to kill and in what order, and outlaws can overwhelm you with numbers. Nice to see that the factions do play differently and they're not all the same. I like that. How early into the game can we make a full Astromech team? Astromechs are unlocked pretty early in the game, and you can build a full team as soon as you can recruit Astromechs. Hawks is required for story missions, but additional slots can be filled with Astromechs at all times. That's fun. I'm not reading all this. Can you recruit B1 battle droids or Separatist battle droids in general? Blah, 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 blah. You cannot recruit Separatist droids as operators in Star Wars Zero Company. It was fun reading how much thought you've put into it, though, and how a Separatist droid could be recruited, though. Will Zero Company have access to any specialized call-ins? Depending on if the theater of operation is in a war zone, can we count upon calling in LAAT support once per mission? Or the ability to exfiltrate early from an operation if things are going poorly at the expense of mission failure. There will not be any specialized call-ins. Hawks has to make it out or it's an automatic mission fail. We recommend taking your time with team planning to build a squad that supports your playstyle. Makes sense. Again, makes sense. Will our characters have nicknames? And if so, will they potentially get them over time with a nickname pool like in XCOM 2? Nicknames aren't acquired like in XCOM 2, but players can fully customize recruited operator names and backstories when you customize your character. That's fine, as long as we can name them, that's all I need. Are certain species or factions better at weapon proficiencies than others? There are no certain species or factions with better weapon proficiencies because we don't want players to feel like they have to pick a specific species to optimize their gameplay. Again, that is a good thing. It's one of those things that sounds cool on paper, but when you actually start getting into it and then like you have to start considering balance, it makes sense. Like if they only made one species really good at sniping, you just always have to lock in that species. But what if you want a different species to be your sniper? You know, it sounds good on paper to have like different proficiencies, but once you actually start getting into implementing that, it can cause a lot of issues down the line. That's most of the questions that were asked on Discord. They didn't answer mine, which was, will we be able to miss 95% headshots because it won't feel the same without it? I can understand why I didn't pick that one. Now we just have a Star Wars Zero Company frequently asked questions. These are just regular stuff, which I don't really need to go into here. Didn't really see anything. Definitely feel free to go to EA's site and read through all this stuff, though. There's some good stuff. They do say that there's no plans for DLC at the moment. No microtransactions. Good amount of information. Again, I'm waiting for like the big gameplay section. You know, I'd love to see a big gameplay trailer for this. You know, I already know what the game's gonna be. Like, we don't necessarily need it, and like this is a bit more of a niche game. Like the audience for this game is not going to be huge, but I would like to see like a good decent gameplay trailer. At the same time, like a gameplay trailer for a game like this isn't very exciting. It's not a game that's exciting to put into a trailer, so I can understand why we don't have these big snippets of gameplay. But it would be nice. I'm most looking forward to what this collector's edition is going to be if we get that at San Diego Comic-Con, because I just want to know. I just want to know what it is. Does it have some cool stuff in it? I haven't pre-ordered anything yet. I do want to get the stuff with more cosmetics and that. At the same time, I don't like spending money. Anyway, that is it for now. Some new Zero Company news. Yeah, we'll see what comes out of San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, and if it's anything worthwhile, I'll do another video to talk about it. Until then, that's about it. I can't remember what news I've got. I'm currently rereading New Jedi Order for the first time since I was a kid. We've got some new books coming out very, very soon. I think Eyes Like Stars, and I think Tsukumo is out soon. So that'll be fun to check those out. We've got the anime, which I've forgotten the name of, The Ninth Jedi. That is next month, I think. So that's coming up. Mandalorian and Grogu is out on digital for renting right now. It'll be on Disney Plus a little bit later. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can think of at the moment. Galactic Racer is in October. I don't know. There's a bunch of cool stuff coming. I'm looking forward to it all. To be honest, I'm having fun with it. Man, this game though. I just need it now. That's all I want. I just want it right now. Anyway, I've yapped on long enough. Make sure you follow me here at Cubcos Cantina and over on TikTok, also at Cubcos Cantina. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about the Star Wars Zero Company, and may the Force be with you always.